Greetings from Hyderabad. Today's event focuses on Agentic AI, from AI suggestions to secure execution, presented by Amit Kumar, hosted by Vishal and Yamini. Over to you, Amit.
Hey, thank you, Yamni, Vishal, and SUG Hyderabad. So, in today's session, I will be explaining about from AI suggestions to the secure execution. So, in this, we will be learning what is the MCP, why the need of the MCP tools arises. So, under that, the agenda is why this matter now, and what is the enterprise gaps, and why people are not adopting the AI. And I will be touching upon the AI concept which you are utilizing your day to day to get a more understanding what those are, and MCP fundamental and what is Sitecore marketer MCP, and how we can extend and improve and use that and implement the continuous improvement into your day-to-day work. And also I will be explaining about what is the responsible AI we need to follow while utilizing it, and then we will reach to the Q&A. So myself Amit, and I'm having around a 21 years of experience and mostly on the .NET tech stack. So you can reach out to me via any of the social media channel, or you can scan the QR code and you can connect with me. So I will be happy to connect with you if you have any questions or suggestions. We can discuss. Now coming to the first section, why this matter now. So you know that the AI is everywhere. So nowadays everyone, it is like a school child, or you can say that even a year 3 child's also utilizing the AI, and also the all the organization are utilizing it. So generally, Gen AI and co-pilots are the mainstream. People are utilizing this to create a draft document or to summarize any document or to get the insight of that. So when it's coming to the enterprise, right? So they will are not utilizing these things because they can get the suggestions draft for any content or anything. But after that, what they will do with that? Because your Gen AI and the Copilot is not having the access to the backend system.
Others, can you please go on mute? Sorry to interrupt. Others, can you please go on mute?
Thank you. So the real challenge is that AI can give you the suggestion and everything, but how to complete the workflow which is intended by the end user in day-to-day work. For example, if I am a content author, my task is to generate a documentation for or a product catalog page, and I am giving a product information to the AI, Gen AI, and a Copilot to generate the content. Now, content is generated. Again, I need to take that content and I need to logging into the Sitecore system CMS, and I need to create those items manually. So there is no direct connection with the within a AI and the backend system, right? So that is the execution bottleneck, or you can say that the implementation challenges faced by the enterprise AI. So for that purpose, we need some standard execution which can bridge the gap, and the workflow can be automated without compromising the security, so that enterprise system also start adopting it. So that is the main, you can say that the problem, and we are going to discuss in this session how we can solve that. So in other words, it's a brain without hands problem. Like LLMs models can write a blog, but it cannot reliably go and create the page and push the data to the backend system and perform all the tasks which generally will be the automation, or you can say that in a secure way someone will accessing things that cannot be done by the LLM models by themselves, right? So we need a some governance, right? Because if you want to publish a content or you want to create a content, you should be knowing that who is updating that content. So at a later time, if we need to do the auditing and we need to verify that who updated this page or who updated this record in the CRM system. So suppose if it is a autonomous account or something, then we will be not knowing that who updated those resources. So that's why we need a secure system, or you can say that the governed system, which will be having all the auditing in place, so that all the backend system where the security is the main things, those can utilize AI. So that's why if you are working for a client or a organization who are in the pharma domain, or you are in the finance domain or in medical domains, they are hesitant to adopt the AI because they are looking for a more controlled environment, so that their data is secure, it is not being leaked, or it is not being uh, in a way so that it cannot be audited at a later stage to identify the who have updated the document, right? So they are mostly looking for a permission, approvals, and some sort of a audit trail. So that's why there is a need for a complementary roles comes into the picture, like Agentic AI and MCP. So with the help of these two, we can implement the bridge which can help you to automate the complete task. So if you will see this diagram, like AI LLM can do the reasoning and they can do the planning, and they can give you the ideas, draft, or a recommendation. Then someone as a human being like us needs to comes into the picture, and they need to perform the manual steps to do the content update or do the record update. So this is the execution gap. Like the AI system is not having a direct access to the backend system, and that execution gap we are going to fill with the help of a agentic AI and the MCP system. So that's why it's a brain without hands. But when we will provide the agentic AI and the MCP, then AI is becomes a reliable system and can be utilized by the enterprise system also. So now coming to the AI concept. So you know that everyone is aware about the Gen AI, Copilot, AI agent, and agentic AI. But what are their core strength and what are their limitations? So I will be covering that in this slide. So a generative AI, like a Gen AI, so it's a brain because it is utilizing the LLM models and those things which are excel in producing the new content, text, and the code and the images. And their core strength is content creation, summarizing, and ideation. But limitation is that they are not having the execution capability. They can't do any action by their own unless and until you are not providing the other set of tools or the instruction to do so. Like a chat GPT, right? They can draft the blog, but they cannot go and directly update into your domain system. So Copilot, you can treat it as a assistant because Copilot generally will embed your models like VS Code or a Cloud desktop, but they observe the user context and provide the suggestion in a real time. Like if you are utilizing the Cloud or a GitHub Copilot, so you will be knowing that they are having a context of your past sessions, and based on that, they will be giving you the options or keep providing you the content. So their strength is that they are having the in context recommendation. They can complete the code if you will provide some sort of a tools or those things, and they are providing the excellent user experience. So what the meaning of excellent user interface experience is that because when you are interacting with any of the AI based tools, so most of the downstream system or external system is sharing the data in the form of a JSON. But your AI agent, like this Copilot, is not sharing the raw data with you. They will present in a tabular format or in a format which is easy to understand. So that is their one of the strength, you can say that. Uh, they are not autonomous, right? And they cannot orchestrate the workflow across the system because they cannot take the decision to do by themselves unless and until you are not creating a specific agent or something for them. So for example, GitHub Copilot recommend the code snippets to you, but when you will assign a tool to update that, then only it can go and update that. Unless and until it can't do the code update by their own, but they can provide the suggestions. So AI agent, you can say that the specialist, so they can execute the task using the tools, and they can work for a specific goals with the help of a set of tools. And for example, they can fetch the data from some API. They can find broken links from your website if you are giving some tools to them, and they can filter the result for you if you have provided the raw data to them. So their strength is task execution, AI based automation. Suppose if you have created any agent and where you need to get the data from a third party API, right? And suppose if that third party API is secured, then you can write a code block in your agent with a JavaScript or a Python or anything, or even you can provide the PowerShell script also and pass the required credentials to access that. So those way you can do the API based automation to them, and they are having the goal oriented behavior, right? And they are generally dependent upon the available integration. If you are not providing the API endpoint and required credential, it cannot access that. So for example, if you wanted to retrieve the flight data, right, from an API, so you can create a agent for that. There you need to provide the API details to your agent. So agentic AI is the, you can treat it as a manager who can plan and orchestrate the multi-step code. So agentic AI generally introduces a autonomy, reasoning and planning. So they are not following the proper script. Generally, it will breaks the goals into the small steps, and those small steps to assign to the sub agent. So that's why it's work as a orchestrator who will assign the task. So that's why they are called as a managers. And their limitation is that they still need secure access to the system because they are not also having access to the system directly. So the simple example is that if you have a use case where you need to plan a trip by checking the weather, comparing flights and booking within constant, so you can create the different agent for a subtask like weather checking, comparing flight and the booking. And then you will be providing the all the context that I need to travel in a this month, and then your one agent will be checking the weather during that weather, the weather is good to travel or not, and during this weather the flights are cheap or not, or in a better rate or not. So and that's why that orchestrator will pass the output of a one agent to another, so that they can work in a chain of actions, so that one agent is dependent upon other, and then it can execute the task in a proper way how you generally do that as a human being. So that way I tried to explain about a what are the key components are present in the AI words. So if we will compare the capability, right, a quick view of this. So primary role of a Gen AI content generation, Copilot is in tool assistant and agentic AI is plan, reason, plus act. But still the agentic AI is not enterprise safe because if you are not providing the path or a way to connect the downstream system in a secure way, then still it is not a safe in terms of an enterprise organization who wanted to automate their complete workflow. So, for example, if I work for an organization where I need to automate the product catalog into my CRS system, like a dynamic CRM or anything, generally people will create a batch job or someone will be logging into manually. But if I need to make a system using the Azure AI Foundry, or I need to create a agent itself and providing with the help of a Copilot, but how the host machine is going to connect with the downstream system, that is a question mark for the enterprise system. So that's why also the agentic AI itself independent is not a secure way, and but they are best for the complex goals to do though to do complex goal to solve it. So now coming to the MCP fundamentals. So so we were missing between AI and enterprise system. So we were looking for a one standard tool which is providing the auto discovery, so that the agent will be knowing that okay, user told me to create a content. So if user needs to create a content, so which tool I need to call? So that is a treated as a standard tool discovery. Your agent will be knowing that what tools are available, and automatically it will match with the natural language of a user to the specific tool. Typed inputs and the outputs. It means that your agent should be knowing that what type of input and output parameters will be coming from the any tools which the AI agent is going to utilize. And to use any tools, first it will analyze the user credentials like authentication or authorization, then only it will allow to execute that. And also consistent execution gateway. It's not like that one time it is creating an item in a CMS system, the next time it is going to create an item in a CRM system. It should not be like that. It's always be a consistent output whenever they are utilizing any systems or they are utilizing any tools. So these are the missing things which we are looking for to fill the gap, and that have been fulfilled by the MCP. So MCP is stand for the Model Context Protocol. It's an open standard for AI to tool interaction, because it's not like that the thumb rule that when you are creating a application in a .NET, then you need to utilize the MCP tool in a .NET. You can utilize the MCP tool which is built in the Python or a Java also in your .NET application. Tool discovery plus invocation, it is providing the all the details which is needed by your agent to understand what functionality is provided by. So that I will be showing you in the upcoming slides. And type schema, like how you are creating the functions, right? So you are passing the parameter, input parameter, and you are also defining the body of your method. Like it will be returning a string or it will be returning a list of the strings. Those things are treated as a schema, or you can say that the type safe. Permission scope execution. So whenever you are utilizing a Sitecore Marketer MCP tool, for example, so every time when you are utilizing Sitecore Marketer MCP tool, so whenever you will start the MCP tool, you need to provide the credentials to do so, right? So that's why it's a secured. And same way when you are utilizing the Azure DevOps MCP tool, so every time you need to log in, because it is a OAuth based authentication, and after some time your token will be expired and again you need to log in it. So that way you are always having a context of a user who is going to execute that. It's not like that it's working as anonymous. Auditability and governance. So whenever you are creating any item in a Sitecore or you are utilizing the Azure DevOps MCP tool, it is passing your credentials, or you can say that the details who have updated those details. So that's why it's providing the auditability and the governance. So in simple word, MCP is not an AI model, it's a bridge, because it's help AI system to connect with the downstream system. That's why it's a bridge, it's not an AI model. So if we will see the mental model, it's simply a host client server type of relationship. So you are having the host, like you are utilizing the GitHub Copilot or a Claude. You will be setting up with the help of a JSON file. So those are treated as MCP client. So whenever AI agent is trying to call anything, it will connect with the MCP client, and MCP client will make a JSON RPC, remote procedural calls, over HTTP or STDIO, and it will connect with the specific MCP server, and which is internally connecting with the another resources or the tools. And that's why MCP client is providing all the discovery with respect to the MCP tool, so that whenever user is typing create content, update content, or give me a list of items, and whatever the definitions have been decorated in the MCP tools, those are available to the MCP client, and that are available to the your AI system which you are utilizing, like a Cloud A or a GitHub Copilot. They are knowing that I am having the list of tools, and this is a description, this is a parameter, so that whenever user is giving any sort of prompt, automatically it will map user intention with the available tools, and it will invoke that. And then MCP server will execute based on the authentication and authorization, and it will return you the result. So that's way whatever the gap you are seeing as a execution gap, that have been filled by the MCP server here with the help of a secured, and the audit detail is also being available there. So when we will combine the agentic AI plus MCP tool together, so what happened there? The agentic AI decide what to do next, and on the basis of that, it will invoke the specific tools, and that specific tools like MCP tools will be connecting with the downstream system like a enterprise or a CMS, and it will return the result, and that result will be returned to your AI system, and it will be presented to the user. So it means that uh, you know that the agentic AI works as a manager. So agentic AI will decide that which tools needs to be invoked, then MCP validates and execute in a secure manner, and then the result will be returned to the user. So that's where this agentic AI plus MCP server is filling the gap like a uh, human without a hands, right? Those things fulfilled by these two things, agentic AI plus MCP, and also all the manual works which done by the human will be automated by these two objects within AI system. So that's why when you will combine the agentic AI plus MCP system, you are building a secure system so that it can be adopted by the enterprise system. So now coming to the Sitecore Marketer MCP tools. So Sitecore Marketer MCP tool is also built on the model context protocol. So generally it's built for the marketer. The intention is that whatever the marketer is performing the action like creating a page, creating a rendering, creating a page item, all those things have been automated with the help of MCP. So it's a tool set for the marketing workflow in a Sitecore, right? So what it will do, whatever the task like a create content and those things are there, similar to that, the MCP tools have been created. So it generally it expose for the Sitecore marketer team so they can create the content. So if you are telling that create a template, it will create the template. If they will say that create item based on this page template and add that page into under some specific hierarchy and also add that specific component into a specific page at a specific placeholder. So all those tasks in a normal human language will be mapped to the Sitecore marketer MCP tool. Like you are seeing here, the natural language is whenever user are giving any prompt in a natural language, that will be mapped to the executable Sitecore action. And internally, Sitecore marketer MCP tool are connecting with the Sitecore agent API to perform the action. And these are working with the most of the LLM, whatever the LLM model or you are utilizing the GitHub Copilot or a Cloud, you can do that. So those are the set of the tools which provided by the Sitecore. Like as I was telling, continuously you can create pages, update component, you can manage the assets also, and you can trigger the workflow also. And those are working under the hood of a your context only. So if you are not having access to your Sitecore AI environment, you can't access these tools. So once you will start these tools, so automatically it will prompt you the a screen where you need to log in. So if you are not having the, suppose you are having access to the Sitecore Cloud portal, but if you are not having access to a specific tenant or a project, you will be not able to access. So based on the authentication and authorization, you only will be able to access these tools. So if you will see the capability and the architecture, so it's the same how we saw in the previous, like MCP client will be there and MCP Sitecore Marketer MCP server will be there, which internally will be calling the Sitecore Agent API, and that Sitecore Agent API is internally connecting with the Sitecore platform. So once you are using the Sitecore Marketer MCP, you are automatically giving the authentication and authorization to Sitecore Marketer MCP to perform any action on that. So that's why automatically your context and everything will be passed internally to the Sitecore Agent API to perform a specific action like a create pages or a create a component or create a data source item. So all those things will be taken care by this. So if you will see the picture of a before versus after, so you will see that before MCP AI suggested the steps and then the human click through the CMS UI and it will perform the action. But once the MCP comes into the picture, so MCP execute all the actions in a secured manner and safely, and the result plus audit will be also coming into the picture. So now coming to the interesting section is extendability and adoption. So when you are start working with the AI system, so you are seeing the gap that most of the times you are not having the tools which can interact with your system. So as I was keep telling that CRM system and those things. So let's say and there is a use case. So for example, I am having a dynamic CRM system where I will be creating the product catalog. So So I am having the product price, product name, and everything in my hand. Now I need to push that data to the CRM system, and from there I need to push that data to the Sitecore AI system also. So, but I am not having the MCP tool for the dynamic CRM system. So what will I do? I will create my own. So how I can do that? So for that, we are having the this MCP C sharp SDK, which we can utilize that to build our own custom MCP servers. So wherever you are seeing the gap or you are doing the continuous improvement, you can utilize this SDK to build your own custom MCP tool, or as well when you are working with the Sitecore. And suppose if you need to do anything specific, and for that you are not having any tools, so you can utilize the Sitecore Agent API, as well as you can utilize the Sitecore uh, Edge API endpoints also to build up a tool which can do the automation for you. So suppose if I need to build up a .NET dynamic CRM MCP tool, so what will I do? I will create a new solution, and then I should be having the API endpoints for that, right? So what I will do, I will pass my context, what I need to do, which is my product. I will pass to AI agent. AI agent will orchestrate the data, like what should be the page title and other things, and that will be passed to my agent. uh, that will be passed to my MCP tools, which will be adding the record to the dynamic CR system. And I am expecting that dynamic CRM system will return me the object ID, or you can say the ID, which I can pass to my Sitecore page, product page to be created, so that rest of the information, if I need to map at a runtime, I can utilize that ID of the dynamic CRM, and I can show the rest of the detail online. So that way you can complete automate the flow. But for that you need a this C sharp SDK, which you need to utilize it. So let me quickly share the solution how you can do that. So once you need to create a this you need to build up any sort of a tool. So you need to utilize the this C sharp SDK, and for that you need to create the .NET Core application. You cannot utilize the .NET 4.8 to build up. It is a .NET Core based solution, and then you need to inherit these data SQLite, Microsoft Extension Hosting, and Model Context Protocol SDK to build up that. So these are the prerequisites, or you can say that the packages which you need when you are building up the your custom MCP tools. These things you required. So once you are having this NuGet packages into your solution, and after that you will be having this program.cs files. So generally what happened that based on your implementation format, or you can say the practices which you are following it, you can create a services also, and you can use the dependency injection to use those services. So here I am using a dependency injection, and I am adding those services. And then you need to utilize the logging configuration. All logs redirect from the STDR from a trace level upward, like these configuration you need to add. And then you need to add the add MCP server. So add MCP server will register your MCP into the .NET dependency injection pipeline, so that it can be auto resolved, and the details will be available to your Sitecore AI agent. And I am using the STDIO server transport, so you need to register whichever the uh, transport level you are utilizing. Either you can utilize the STDIO, or you can utilize the HTTP transport also, based on your requirement. And then you need to do the with tool from assembly, so it auto discover all MCP tool by reflection. So you know that with the help of a reflection you will be getting a all the details, or a method definition, not the implementation, the definition output you can get it. So that's why we need to use this write tool from assembly. And then once that is done, then you will be creating a tool class. So here if you are seeing there, I have created a tool class called a Sitecore AI tool, and you need to decorate that with the MCP server tool types. So this tells the SDK it's a tool container. So one MCP tools class can have n number of method based on how you are segregating or dividing within a modular approach. So here I have created a one Sitecore AI tool class and I have decorated with the MCP tool side, and then I have created one method called a get child details. So that method I am decorating with the MCP server tool. So what is the meaning of this MCP server tool? So suppose this is the container class of MCP and this is an individual tool, or you can say that the method, and I am defining the MCP server tool and the description. So this description should be in a normal human language, not like you are operating a CRUD operation like a delete child, something like that. You shouldn't write like this. You need to define that what is the intention of this tool. So suppose if someone is searching something on the Google, what they can write it, right? The same way you need to write it. So here I am trying to get a child details. So I mentioned that retrieve child item details from a Sitecore by specifying item path or ID and the language. And with these things will be available to your AI agent. So that's why only I was keep telling that self discovery. It meaning that with the help of a reflection, this description will be available to your Sitecore AI as your AI agent. And whenever user is telling it get child details or a child item details, it will automatically map this method and it will call it. And input output parameters are type safe because uh, I am defining that the type of a parameter like a string or a integer, whatever you required. So you need to, that's why it is a type safe. And also I am defining what will be the output of that. It's a task of a type string. So that's why your agent will be knowing that what is the input and what is the output. And same logic will happen to the description. So I also defining that the item path. You know that when you are trying to access the item path, you either require the item ID or item GUID. Sorry, item path or item GUID. And also you are seeing here, I am defining the pattern of a GUID also. So that if user is entering the incorrect, then it will explicitly tell me to provide that. And also I am also giving the path, what would be the pattern of the path, and also the language items, right? Because if you need to retrieve any type of a language, sorry, item, you require the language parameter. But by default, what I am doing that I am passing the en parameter. If you will not provide also, it will pass take that automatically and it will pass to my service. So in this service, what I am doing that I am utilizing the uh, Sitecore Edge graphical API, which I am utilizing, and with the help of that, I have wrote a simple graphical query where I am passing the path and the language, and I am getting the child details. So based on your requirement, you can do any sort of operation or any sort of a graphical query. You can write it or API endpoint. You can call it, and you can perform the action. So like here, you are seeing that uh, I need a API key, right? So this API key, you don't need to do the hard coded. Why? Because why I was telling, keep telling that it's safe, because this API key you can pass from the environment variable. So whenever you are trying to register your tools or anything, you can define here the environment variables, and from those environment variables, it can be accessed by your uh, MCP tool. So for example, if you are deploying this as Azure function, and then in Azure function itself, you can define your environment variable, and from there you can pick it up so that you have not hard coded, and whichever developer or whoever developer in your team is going to access your MCP tool. So they always explicitly needs to define their own keys here. So that way you always knowing that who is providing which key, or suppose if you are utilizing the context ID and those things. So if you are generating that, so those details always will be present here. If someone is not having details, those context ID, then people cannot run your MCP tool. So that's why you always need to be very careful when you are checking in your code where you are utilizing the environment variable, because you don't need to check in the actual keys and those things into your environment variable file. So that way also you are making it as a secure. So once that is done, when you will run the your this Cloud A or the GitHub Copilot, you you will be automatically getting the details. So for example, and one more thing I just wanted to explain is that so same way I am having a this monkey tool also. So what it will do, it is having a two method list of the monkeys and the details of a specific monkey. And internally they are also calling a monkey service. So what it will do, it will access a one API endpoint, and from there it is getting a JSON data, the list of the monkeys, and it will be returned to you. So let me show you the list of the monkeys to you. So if you will see here, this is a list of raw data. So this tool will be automatically accessing dash tool and it will give me the data. And also if you will see that a description, so get a list of monkeys. So if I will say the get monkeys, then it automatically call this monkeys. And if I will say list of monkeys, it will give me it automatically map with this. So that's why you need to always provide a description which most of the time match with the natural human language. Same way, this is a small tool like eco tool, like we used to create in a C plus like a eco tool, whatever you will type it, you will get it. So now if you have built up the tool, so how you will utilize in your local system. So for that, if you are using the GitHub Copilot, so you need to add entry for your MCP tool, like I gave it as MCP, you can give it any name here. And what will be the type of that, how it is connecting, and the .NET. So .NET means that if you are writing the tool in a Java, then you need to provide the Java compiler. I have wrote in the .NET, so that's why the .NET compiler detail is there. And whatever the argument like a project and those things, and also I am providing the relative path here because I am running the tool from the same solution where the mcp.json file is present. So that way you can uh, create the client which will be calling the actual MCP server. So one thing here is very good that you do not need to run this solution like how we used to run our batch job or anything. So whenever your any co-pilot or these tools will be calling it automatically, they will build it, they will compile it, and they will build it in the background, and automatically those will be calls. But when you are trying to access in the clouded desktop, so the configuration are different because you need to define explicitly what is the path of your .NET AXE, and you need to define the uh, path of your CS project itself. But here, if you are seeing that, I have just defined a CS project because it's taking the relative path, but there I need to define the absolute path. So that is the difference when you are connecting with the clouded desktop and when you are working with a GitHub Copilot. So suppose when you have done with this, you do not need to explicitly start how you used to do in the Sitecore Marketer MCP because this is your own custom MCP tool. So that's why you do not need to explicitly run. So once you are doing that and running that, suppose if I will say that get list of tools, right? So if you will see that here, so it will give me the list of the tools. If you are seeing here the name MCP Sitecore AI, so how it's taking the name? It's taking the name from here, whichever I have defined it, right? And list of the tools. So you are seeing here, I am having a get monkeys, get monkey, get selling, get child details, eco, and reverse eco. So how it's taking that? So you are seeing the description here. So I was telling that self-explanatory and I was explaining about a reflection. So all the details which you have written for your tools, like here, those are available to your agent, right? Or a co-pilot agent. That's why you are seeing here a description also. So suppose if I will say a simple thing like a selling records. So what generally it will do, it will explicitly go to my this selling service. What it will do, it is just creating an arbitrary list of the product and it is returning here. So I have just told that automatically it's sharing me the list of the items, right? Those from there. So if I will say that monkeys, so it should match to the get monkeys. How? Because I am trying to access a more than one, then that's why I mentioned the monkeys and automatically it will went to the monkeys, and it will map to the get monkeys, and it's returning me the list of the record like this. So now if I will say that mandrill, right? So automatically it went ahead and it will call a specific monkey related details automatically. If I will say that print hello world, so let's see what it will do. I haven't mentioned that it should print, but automatically it mapped my language with the tools description which is having, and it is mapped to that word. And also whenever you will see if you are calling any method or any things, so you can check that what is the request payload and what output you are getting. So I was telling that the Copilot is having a good user experience. So like here you are seeing that you are getting the result in the JSON format, and here also you are getting the result in the JSON format. But your Copilot is representing in a user understandable format with a good user experience. So that is the you can say that the one of the strength of that. So that way also you can identify a which tools they are accessing and what is the payload. If I will say reverse, so it should map to the reverse echo, right? So now if I will say that the child details, so it will automatically go ahead and it will say that these things are required. So how it's knowing that these things are required? Because in my tools I have mentioned that I am looking for a description, sorry, path and the language code, and what should be the format like this. It's taking from their own. So now if I will say that I am having somewhere. So if I will say this, so if you will see here the path, I am not passing the language. So that's why it is automatically taking and it is getting a response in a JSON format and it's being represented. So now parent item is this one and the child items are this one. So suppose if I will pass this also, so it should get me the data. So like that, you can build up any sort of a tools which you require to automate any of your workflow or a process which you are going into your enterprise system which you are currently doing the manual. You can automate with the help of a agent, and you can extend with the help of a this MCP SDK. You can implement your own MCP tools and you can fulfill the needs. So now coming to the things like a responsible AI in practice. So what is responsible AI? So responsible AI is generally a practice of designing, deploying and operating AI system so that it can act safely and it can act transparently. So it is not hiding anything with you, and it always run under the human supervision. And the people who is running that tools should have the complete responsibility what input and output they are providing it, right? And also all the organization control should be in place. So that's why whenever you are creating any agent, you should not give complete automation or authority to your AI agent. You always add a human in loop. Human in loop means that suppose if you are creating a agent and you are telling to create a document, create a page based on this document to a specific place. So it will do that. So next time also when you will prompt create item based on this, it will automatically go and create at a same location. Why? Because it is having a context of your previous session. So in those cases, you need to create an agent or you need to write instruction in some manner that whenever you are telling that create item, automatically it should prompt you which site would you like to create, which item would you like to create, which page template you would like to create. all those things should prompt to end user so that the developer or anyone who is executing that part should answer or interact with the user. So in that manner, it's responsibility of a person who is running that workflow or a process should be knowing that what input and output is being given by the AI agent, so that it will not do the mistake or create a items in a wrong places. So suppose if you are having 100 of a item and you will give that one document per document to your AI agent and said that okay, create item. So your AI agent, what it will do, it will automatically go and create 100 item into a location which is previously been selected. So in that case you have created a all the items in the wrong place and you need to do the rework manually there. So to avoid that, create a AI agent in a manner so that it's the responsibility of a user or a human who is executing that. So that's called a responsible AI. So the recommended starting point is that don't perform the critical content operations. Start with the non-critical type like a blogs or a campaign pages to verify that how your agent is performing, and create a standard set of rules or a components or a templates which you can follow, or you can create the reusable prompts for that, so that every time you are not creating a introducing a new set of instruction or anything, and apply human oversight, right, for each and every action. And governance for a safe AI adoption means that avoid autonomous changes on a high volume or high traffic pages, because if something is happen wrong, then those pages can be broke. And you don't need to assign a admin level permission. It should be run under the specific user context. Whoever is running as a developer, they will provide their own credential to execute the task. So in simple, so what are the principle? In simple words, the responsible AI principle are that least privileged access, logging, monitoring, and audit trail should be in place, and it should have the clear human accountability. So that way you can build up a or implement a responsible AI practice in your day-to-day life, and you can give an impact on your organization or the world where you are utilizing those practices. So the key takeaway from this session was from my side. So I tried to explain what is the enterprise gaps are there and how we can fulfill that, and what is the concept of a MCP and how the Sitecore have implemented the Sitecore marketer MCP tools, and what is the backend system they are utilizing it, and how you can implement the your own custom MCP tool using the C Sharp SDK, and how you can integrate those MCP tools in the Copilot as well as in the Claude desktop, and how and what is the meaning of a self-explanatory or a self-discovery, and how it is being mapped or available to your AI agent, and how AI agent is mapping with the normal or sorry natural human language with your method, and what is the responsible AI in practice. So now I am open for the Q&A. If you guys have any question, feel free to ask me.
Any questions you can put in the chat or you can raise your hand and ask Amit.
So silent means no question. Okay.
Yeah, because it is
Fine.
a lot of process as well. Thank you so much, Amit. It was really wonderful session. And I
Yeah.
think,
So
uh, go ahead.
so what I was trying to say is, if you will scan this QR code, you can get a list of the you can say that links which you can go through to understand more about what is MCP and how you can build up your own MCP tools. So it will be helpful for you. Yeah, Yamini, go ahead.
I think it was really great session, and I was just trying to understand like how can we integrate, as you said, right? Not only using one tool and one agent, we can combine all of them and make efficient for our enterprise work as well. I
Yes.
think I
So
will
what you can
focus
do
on
that.
these links. Mm.
So what you can do that. Suppose this is my just MCP, right? For Sitecore. Suppose if I am having a dynamic CRM, so I will not merge that with my this. I will create another set of MCP tool for that. If you wanted to combine within that, so you need to create a, suppose you are creating a one solution, right? And
Mm.
for the within that solution, you are having a this, like I was having a this monkey tools and the eco tools. So you can create a different systems tools also within a one solution itself. You can name it as a generic,
Okay.
right? Whatever name. And
Mm.
when you are writing any sort of agent, then you need to specifically say that in your skill itself, if this agent is being called, then use these skills, and in the skills you can define that, okay, if I need to create a content, some user is telling to create a content, then call this MCP tool. If someone is telling to create a CRM items, then you need to invoke that tool, because agent is a instructions. So unless and until you are not telling anything, it will perform a wrong steps. So to make it
Okay.
perfect or a proficient, you need to give a proper instruction how you will do as manual, so that you are feeding all data to your agent, and then you are making it a automation. It's like that you need to create.
Okay. In one solution, if you're trying to integrate two other tools, right? Then on the
Yes, you can do
Claude,
that.
yeah, once we go to the chat interface, right? Then if we
Mhm.
need to select a particular agent in the drop down, or we just need to give the prompt so that it gives the accurate answers or
Okay,
the accurate
what happened that
steps.
first you will create a agent, you will create a skills, right? Then you will create
Yes,
a agent. Agent will follow your skills, right? And you are
yes,
also defining the instructions or a complete workflow in your agent, right? So now
yes.
you will create the reusable prompt if you wanted to do so. If not, then you will say that you will select your agent like a slash or a hash. It's up to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you will say that, okay, use this agent to perform this action. Then automatically this agentic AI, whatever you are using it, it will automatically orchestrate that, and it will call your specific agent. If you are not
Oh,
defining agent, you can say that, for example, you have created agent. I have created agent,
mm.
for example, for a Sitecore AI. So I will say that, okay, use my Sitecore AI agent to create a item in a Sitecore. So when you will
Okay.
mention the
Using a
Sitecore
prompt.
AI and the, yeah,
Mm.
Sitecore AI and the agent, then automatically your agent, you whatever the tool copilot or GitHub copilot you are using, that automatically it will be able to identify your agent, because you have mentioned the Sitecore AI, then agent. So what happen, you know that, right? Agent will be stored as a dot agent, dot md, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
automatically it will call that agent, and your agent is having instruction, okay, I need to create an item. Okay. For that, what is my prerequisite? I need to ask for a site name. I need to ask for a these. You will define that these four steps are completed, then only go ahead and create a item, right? So automatically you are adding a those instruction human in loop, so that it will ask the user. Okay. So that way you need to design the complete workflow for yourself.
Okay. Clearly understood now. Thank you. Thank you so much, Amit.
No problem.
Any other queries?
Okay, no queries. So I am good. So feel free to connect with me anytime by scanning this, or you can ping me via WhatsApp or a LinkedIn or any channel which you are comfortable. And feel free to connect with me, or if you have any suggestion for my session or any improvement I can add into this in more upcoming session, it will be very helpful for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much,
everyone.
everybody.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Have a
Meet
great
you in the
evening.
next
Bye.
session. Bye.